Hi everyone. So as you know, I've been doing these book reviews and we're coming towards the business end now. We've literally got, I think, 3 books left, either 3 or 4. I know that this is probably book number 49 and the book is called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Schwartz. I'm not very good at pronouncing surnames, but what I will say is this is the best book I've ever read. I've listened to the audiobook as well, because there was just too much things to take in. And yeah, that's a bold statement to make, but I was even thinking about doing a part 1 and part 2, but I'm just going to try and make this as quick as possible. I'm just going to rush through it because there's too much in there. There's just too much in there. So I'm going to read you the back page first, which gives you an idea. So it says, "This is a classic international bestseller. 6 million copies have been sold. In his seminal self-help masterpiece, Dr. David Schwartz not only motivates and inspires, he gets you to the very core of why thinking big will make you live big. Ever wondered and doubted how positive thinking actually works? Then you need to read this book. So it shows you how to defeat disbelief and negative power that it creates, make your mind produce positive thoughts, plan a concrete success building program, do more and do it better, capitalize on the power of now." It doesn't give it credit. I just don't even know where I'm going to start. I'm going to try. The book, I gave it 10 out of 10. I would give it 12 out of 10. Now, I've read some books in my time and I've given 10 out of 10 this year to books. I've talked about books. I've said how brilliant they are. This book, it's because it covers everything. So you think Magic of Thinking Big and you just think, oh, title sounds like just a normal, ordinary title. When I was listening to the audiobook and then when I was reading the book, because the book has got more things in it than the audiobook as well, it was like, it just sets off light bulbs. It sets off light bulbs in your mind. It just makes you think differently. So there's loads in there. So it talks about, people who use excusitis. So it says, they make excuses. They say they're too young, they're too old, they're too... they're this, they're too that, they're too that. It lists all the excuses people make for not being successful and what you can do to combat it. It says that 3 out of 4 people would be healthy if they learnt to manage their emotions. So it goes into depth about this idea that it doesn't matter what position you're in, it doesn't matter what background you come from, it's about how you think. It talks about you can have an optimistic, positive attitude in life, regardless of the circumstances in your situation. And throughout the book, it gives lots of examples so it goes person A and person B. So someone who's a negative thinker, someone who sees failure as an issue, someone who is always complaining and says, instead of looking at things as a challenge. So it talks about how you can reframe absolutely anything. It says we underestimate our own brain power and we overestimate other people's. So he talks about this idea that we need to stop seeing other people as superior to us. If you're going for an interview or any situation you're in, he says you should look at it as being they're just a human being. No one is bigger or better than you. You can prove yourself in so many ways. There's just too much to touch on this. I could do a book review for about an hour. It says that the thinking that guides your intelligence is more important than the level of your intelligence. He does a whole chapter where he's talking about this idea that it's not just someone might know, if people know what they know, and he talks about loads of examples of we can have lots of facts and lots of information, but if you're not doing anything with that information, it still makes you useless. Whereas a person, not useless, but you're not using the information, but another person can have limited facts, limited intelligence, but they're taking action and they've got big ideas and they think differently. So he just talks about you have to be able to be enthusiastic and good with people. And he talks about getting rid of fear. So the way to get rid of fear in 2 steps is to isolate the fear and then take action. Then he talks about things like now this is, by the way, an 8-hour audiobook, so there's no way I'm going to be able to cover, and the book itself is quite thick if you have a look at the book. There's no way I'm going to be able to cover all of this. But I just needed to talk about this book because it is just the best book, as I've said, I've ever read. He talks about make thought deposits into your mind bank. So every day, make sure those thoughts that you're putting into your mind are positive thoughts. He says, what's the point in putting in negative thoughts he gives so many examples of people that keep talking about can't do attitude, people that talk about complain about everything, people who, and he said that that's not going to get you anywhere in life. Be a problem solver and an ideas man. Don't just be someone that's full of facts. There's no such thing as luck, only hard work and superior attitude. So what he's trying to say is, when people keep saying, oh, this person's lucky, or that's good luck for that person, that's not realistic, because you haven't looked at the hard work behind the person and how they've got there. So he talks about the first step to success is to believe in yourself. Think success, don't think failure. Remind yourself that you're better than you think you are, and believe big. Be curious, observe other people, ask questions that could lead you to be successful. Study the most successful people around you and take ideas from them. So he talks about, it's just having this attitude that you can do anything you put your mind to. He says, thinking big leads to big success in all areas. Your thinking is a result of your environment. Thinking big creates magic. Think big and you'll live big. So it says the book also helps people with techniques, principles for thinking big. He says that you need to work on your presentation, how you walk out into the world, how you dress, how you speak, how you communicate. Think like an important person thinks. Go first class in everything you do. Develop an attitude of real enthusiasm. Then he's got a whole chapter on confidence building. So to build your confidence, be a front seat person. Sit up front, stop sitting in the back and being inconspicuous. Be out there in the front. Be the first person to put your hand up. Practice using eye contact. Walk faster with purpose. Smile. Smile big. Smile at people. Say hello. Be an approachable person and speak up. So he says action cues any fear that you might have. Make an effort to put positive thoughts into... So that was just a summary of the chapter about putting positive thoughts into your memory bank. Put people in perspective. No one is more superior to you. How big we think is the determining factor of our accomplishments. If we think small and we have small goals, small hopes for our future, then that's where we're going to stay. But if you think big and you think the biggest goal that you can think of, then who's going to stop you from achieving it? So develop your 5 key assets, he says. Under each asset, write the names of 3 people who have achieved success but do not have as many assets as you. Never sell yourself short. Use positive language and phrases that create positive mind images. Use positive big words to describe how you feel. So when someone asks you how you feel, stop using words like okay or fine. Say, I'm feeling wonderful. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fabulous. So change your vocabulary. That's what he says. That's what he talks about. And then, I'm just going to look in the book. So there's a chapter on avoiding quarreling. Ask yourself, is it really worth it in the scheme of things? So when you are in a situation where someone is being confrontational, you don't have to engage with it. Say to yourself that you're going to avoid conflict, because it's not worth it, and you're trying to prove yourself as a person. You don't need to be sort of getting involved with what other people are thinking in that situation. So I'm just looking through the bits that I'm going to just do a few more minutes. So as I said, action cues fear. Make a supreme effort to put only negative thoughts in your memory bank. Yeah, we've covered that. I can't see. There's one more bit that I think of. I'll just do because I'll be here all day otherwise. So the last bit really is just talking about when you're in a situation, you need to make a choice. So it gives loads of examples of a petty thinker's approach to things and a big thinker's approach. So these are a few examples. A petty thinker, when they're looking at the expense accounts, the petty thinker will figure out ways to increase income through chiseling on the expense accounts. So that's people taking shortcuts. The big thinker will figure out ways to increase income by selling more merchandise. So he says, when it comes to work, the petty thinker will look for ways to avoid work, whereas the big thinker will look for more ways and things to do, especially helping others. So I cannot tell you enough how this is the type of book where you can either buy the book and study it to the maximum, and there's no way you will not achieve success. It actually, listening to the audiobook and reading this, changed my complete outcome. I feel more confident. I feel more, in terms of where I want to go with my business and in terms of what I need to do and the goal setting. It's a good book to read before the end of the year. So this is a good one to get you into 2024 with a different mindset. So it's all about the magic of thinking big by David Schwartz. It's the best book I've read this year. It's the best book I've read in my life. and I'd advise everyone to read it. Thanks for watching. See you all soon. 3 more books to go, I think.